So here we go again with systems of equations. So we learned how to create equations, and then we learned how to solve through graphing, and then we learned how to solve through substitution, and now we're going to learn our final method, which is to solve through elimination. So let's get started. First off, of course, we know what the systems are going to look like. There's going to be an X and a Y. So the first thing that you want to make sure to do is line up your equations. I like to call it like stacking them on top of each other, where the X and the Y are stacked on top of each other. So sometimes you might have to rearrange your equation to make it be so. Because what we're going to do through elimination is we're going to eliminate either the X or the Y. If we eliminate the Y, then it's super easy to solve for X. If we eliminate the X, it's super easy to solve for Y. So to begin with, we're going to stack them or line them up. Number 2, eliminate one of the variables to solve for the other. Step 3, once we have X, we substitute that in to either equation to find Y, just like we did with substitution. So let's get started. So the very first one is already stacked up for us. And if you notice that I have a negative 2y and a positive 2y. So that's kind of where we always want to get to, because if I have that, what's negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So they already canceled. So I'm going to just go ahead and cancel them. It's going to be kind of like a giant addition problem, but if there's negatives, I end up subtracting anyway. So for my x's, I now have 6 x's. For our constants, we have a negative 18. Divide, x equals negative 3. Now, if you remember, we're only halfway there. Now we need to find y. So it doesn't matter which equation I take. I think I'll take the first one, x minus 2y equals negative 19. And I'm going to put a negative 3 in for x minus 2y equals negative 19. And again, it really doesn't matter. You can pick either equation. One sometimes is easier than the other. All right, so I'm going to add 3. And don't be the kid that the negatives and the positives mess you up. Use a calculator if that messes you up. So I have, let's see, that's going to be a negative 16. Divide by a negative. I have a negative divided by a negative, which is going to make that a positive. So my answer is negative 3, positive 8. That is my solution. That wasn't too bad. Let's go to the next one. Okay, now on this one, again, you can see the positive 3 and the negative 3 are already stacked on top of each other, so I could just eliminate them pretty quick and then add, and I have 3y equals 12. This one's again pretty easy. Y equals 4, and then I just substitute that y in for it doesn't matter which equation. I picked the first one, plus 4 minus 4 minus 4. Again, don't let those negatives mess you up. Use your calculator as often as you need to. So my solution is negative 2, 4. I have to have both the x and the y for my solution. All right, and the next one too. Now here I have a problem because I don't have something that's going to automatically cancel out the other. So I'm going to need to change one of the equations. So if I look, I'm going to go ahead and take this entire equation right here. I'm going to multiply it by negative 1. Because when I do that, you'll see what's going to happen here. So this becomes a positive 2x. This becomes a negative 4y. And this becomes a negative 8. Now, if I change one of my equations, I always cross out the original because I tend to look at it and mess myself up. So if I cross it out, it's gone. For now, it's gone. Okay, now When I add these up, the y's are going to disappear. And I end up with 5x equals a 10. Again, don't let those negatives and positives mess you up. I put the 2 in. It doesn't matter which equation. I can actually go back to the original equation that I crossed out. I'm going to go ahead and just use the other one, though. So 3x plus 4y equals 18. I'm going to substitute the 2 in and work it through. 6 plus 4y equals 18. Move that 6 over. 4y equals, what does it equal? 12. Divide by 4, divide by 4. Y equals 3. But I'm not done until I put the 2 into an ordered pair as a solution. Moving on. We're not going to do all of these. Now this next one, how I'm going to change it. We notice the first one, I just changed it by just multiplying everything by a negative. I could have divided that whole equation by a negative. I would have gotten the same results. That is a -1. This next one, I'm looking at it and I'm like, let's see. There's a lot of different ways I can approach this. So I'm trying to cancel things out. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to multiply everything here by a 2, because then I'll have a -2x. So -2x plus 6y equals a -24. And again, I always cross out the original because it always messes me up. Because I look at it, and you're going to do it too. If you were sitting in my class and I'm looking at you working, it's a common mistake. Again, giant addition problem here. These two will cancel out. I end up with 7y equals -21. That's kind of nice. Works out pretty nice. Y equals -3. 2x plus y. I'm now going to substitute that answer in because I'm never done until, let's see, how should I write this? Plus a -3 equals 3. Just showing you, you don't have to do every single step that I'm doing, but I do that so I don't lose anybody along the way as I'm working through, let me erase that as I'm working through this equation. Okay, equals 6, divide by 2, divide by 2, x equals 3. The solution is 3, -3. All right, now, sometimes you have to change two equations. So these are the worst, because there's nothing I can just add a negative and be able to cancel something out or change one of the equations. I have to change both equations to cancel something out. So this is as crazy as it gets, but it does happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this first one. I'm going to multiply it times 3, and I'm just going to rewrite both of these. 6x plus 15y equals 78. Okay, then I'm going to take the next one and I'm going to multiply it by a 2. And look, now I have a -6x. So sometimes you have to be kind of look ahead and see, what do I need to do to have a plus something and a minus something that will cancel each other out? So that's going to be a -8y equals a -50. So fun. This goes away altogether, and I'm end up with a 7y equals, what do I end up with? A 28. Divide by 7, divide by 7, y equals 4. But remember, I'm only halfway done again. But I got the hard half done. And so I'm going to substitute that y in to get x, and I'll end up with x equals 3. So the answer is 3, 4. But just keep in mind, this is a big one. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you're going to have to change both equations. You can do it. Talk to you later. See ya.